Hoş geldiniz. Welcome to our program Weekly News on Natural TV, Ankara, Turkey. Weekly News today is coming from the heart of Ankara. Actually, I'm not alone today. We're going to present all the news during all this week. Let's take a look. As we're seeing now, I'm not alone. I'm with my colleague Islam. Islam, today you will help us for give it to us some details about all the news, discussing about what's happening in the whole world. Actually, we have a different news from the different country. It's universal actually. So today we will put the accent on the relationship between Japan and Turkey on culture side actually.
Thank you, Miss Aisha. As we see this another post news that actually held the last week, what the Turkish president he went to the G20 meeting in Japan. I just want to include something before to go details on this news. Turkey recently they changed their so many policy, especially their relationship to Asia. As we know, for last 2 decades, or maybe we can say especially the last 10 years, Turkey has a really great relations with Western countries like European and some like US or kind of those kind of Western countries and their policy. But now they understand, or maybe they've changed their some policy like to move to the Asia. Turkey now is making a relationship and focusing on Japan. Turkey is focusing on China or like some India, because the world is now shifting from so many perspectives or so many aspects. So this is the one of the example. 3 days ago, the Turkish president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, he just make a space in one international students graduation ceremony. I was invited there, and in that program, I just listened and his experiences in Japan, and he said in Japan they have almost 800 universities. And out of 800 universities, they have 18 university for women. So he just tried to say that in Turkey now, they have 200 universities. And according to his statement, before he came to the power, it was just I don't know exactly, it's around 30 or something, I don't know. So he said he developed the Turkish now the capacity is really high, 200 university. But what he learned, or what he tried to say message to the there was the president of Turkish education, EOK, he tried to say to him to open a university for women as what Japan did, because he also got honorary PhD degree from Japan. So he tried to mean we can learn those things from Japan. Japan has a 80 university for only women, and as women even also this university system is like you will study your kindergarten, your school, your high school, your higher secondary, your university, but everything from that university is totally full package university. So he said we can initiate those kind of things in Turkey. So it shows actually Turkey is giving really priority. The head of the state said those kind of steps. It means how much Turkey is taking the importance of Japan, how much Turkey is giving importance to the Japan. That they are trying to take the Japan's policy, or Japan, what Japan do something for their women, or this university where he's doing. Even also as we said, he went
actually,
to the
it's
one
exhibition here.
It's not actually exhibition.
170,000 Japanese people visited this one.
That's what also important. He went to the one the Japan's one political party's meeting. The current government, and he said these things to there. The Japanese people love Turkey so much, because the last year 107,000 people came to the tulip festival in Istanbul. So in the Turkish president, he tried to show that it shows how much Japanese people love us. Even he tried to mean Japan and Turkey, they have so many how I can say that the same relationship, or share the similar
culture actually.
Exactly. So for example, the Turkish people and the Japanese people, they both are the industrious, disciplined people, and they want to work hard. So it means the both people can learn some things from each other. and that's why he suggested we can actually follow not only our cultural relations, rather we can follow like economic relations or like trade relations. We can increase our business between us. So those are the things actually the Turkish president focused in his tour or in his meeting in Japan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Actually, our camera Natural TV have been recorded among the painful events that happened in Afghan. Especially, it causes by 10 killed as a huge explosion, you know, in the capital. So, do you have the causes about this explosion, the relationship between the countries, and especially what's the effect about it?
Thank you, Miss Aisha. You know, it's really sad news, as we say. It's not the first time, like, you know, since, you know, Afghanistan as a country is struggling, and since 1979, you know, that's when they first the Afghanistan Mujahideen group, or like even itself, the groups who fought against USSR, you know, Soviet Union, who now the Russia, and now from long decades they are fighting against NATO, and also actually not the Afghanistan itself. I mean like the Taliban, and also those groups who are fighting for USA or like NATO countries, and itself they are facing so many terrorist issues. So there's the current Afghanistan government, you know, they are helped by the so many Western and NATO countries, even itself from Asia like India. But on the other hand, like, you know, the Taliban, even also they have so many link to it. In some sources say they have a link to it, a terrorist group or those kind of stuff. It shows like those kind of thing. Actually, the suicide bombing, it should to be unacceptable in whatever means it comes to them, in whatever legitimacy or justification it come to the people or to the country or to the state. So this is actually happening, you know. Afghanistan ultimately the worsening situation or the problem is facing by Afghanistan the people, because the 10 people killed is actually Afghanistan people. So the impacts, if I want to mention just the current situation of Afghanistan, because Afghanistan tried to make some negotiation with the Taliban, and like who are doing those kind of problem, or like from side of the country, they try to make a negotiation. Even, you know, this in so many, like in Qatar, they are try to meet in like a Turkey, so many years to make a peace deal. Even America try to interpret in here like to make a peace deal. Turkey try to be a observer country. India want to be, even also include Pakistan want to be. So like in end of the day they want actually peace, but the fact is like those kind of suicide bombing, it means it is a prolonging. Even the one of the most important thing I should say here, you know, in Afghanistan there is multiple parties, you know, just it's not about the Afghanistan government or like Taliban. There are also other parties, like, you know, there is also the international some help and some link up with this kind of suicide bombing, like, you know, this the terrorist group, like I can say that they're like Al Qaeda or like those kind of groups. They are very active in them. But some people say like the Al Qaeda is not there, but the fact is like when this kind of suicide bombing happening, it shows that the thing is not only the national matter, or it's not about the issue in the border of nation. It's a matter of, you know, the whole world, and they have a link up with other countries.
I ask you, what are the relationship between the countries, their opinions, because I know it's linked to another country and other factors. It has another foreign country too. They are responsible for this one.
Yeah, because, you know, this NATO are you know, so much active in Afghanistan since the war started, and still the NATO soldiers, even the American soldiers, they're and the America, so many times they said they will take their soldiers from Afghanistan, but the reality is it's really hard to take back them, because if they take back them, then the country will be the same the previous what it was. So it will be also seriously concerned from the security of that region. You know, India is doing the great work in Afghanistan, and the current Afghanistan government and India they have a really good relations. India is investing so much money to develop the Afghanistan. On the other hand, this, as Afghanistan government argue or like claimed that the Afghanistani terrorist group, they are helped by the Pakistan and Pakistani agencies, but as always Pakistan said that we don't have this kind of things. So there was, you know, the metrics and some strategic and also some different relationship that we see, because you know Afghanistan, Pakistan and India, they are almost a neighbor country, and as we know this India from that region are going to be, I mean the South Asian region are going to be a rising power country and a gigantic country. They want to make their so much influence and positive influence to other countries. On the other hand, Pakistan also is a powerful country, and they have also very good influence on Afghanistan. So it means like the situation is not easy. That's what we are thinking. And on the other hand, we know this, that this European Union or whatever the NATO countries or itself the USA, they are there, they have an influence in there. And since the beginning of the conflict, they have so many multilingual or multi-purposes influence or multi-purposes link up in there. Maybe it can be positive, maybe it can somehow it can be negative. They also, you know, bombing. I mean the US and NATO, the countries, they bombed so many times in Afghanistan. That's why the general people of Afghanistan, they are also odds, or they have also odds feeling towards the NATO countries or towards the USA. So the situation is really I mean not that much easy what we are thinking, but yeah, this is true, like the whatever it means or whatever it happens, like the whole world, they want to see actually the peaceful Afghanistan. But the fact is, like, you know, the every day or like every week or every month we are listening, we are seeing there's the suicide bombings are happening in Afghanistan or in Iraq or in Syria, those countries. So like we can say, or we can urge, especially this, if any nation, I mean like any institution can do something in a better way, that's only United Nations can take some serious initiatives to make a possible solutions or to make a possible peaceful solution for that countries itself and for the region itself and ultimately for the world itself.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Islam, I think that you have a good idea about what's happening now in Hong Kong. You know, all the manifestation during all this week, maybe since 6 days or something like that. So every day we have recording something about Korea manifestation. So do you think that what is the plan that we make Korea more and more calm now? And do you have some details about it?
Thank you, Ms. Aisha. As you already told, like the news, the fact, like what is happening in Hong Kong.
Yes, Hong Kong.
It's a really, I mean, you can say that after the passing law in Hong Kong Parliament, like they make some agreement with China, Macau, and Taiwan. Like, you know, if anyone they suspect, especially the China, if they suspect anyone against the Chinese government or Chinese sovereignty, they can take them from Hong Kong. So that this is the, you know, Hong Kong people, you know, I just want to add something before tell about this. You know, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and also Macau, they are the you know, they have an autonomous system. Even in some extent, like Taiwan and Hong Kong are the democratic countries. They have a democratic election, and that's the reason that we are seeing this kind of protest, because it's legitimate in Hong Kong. But the issue, you know, there's so many people who are living in Hong Kong, like who were actually Chinese Hong Kong, you can say, who are living here, and they are normally talking, or they have some stand against the China. So when this kind of agreement happened, you know, this between the Hong Kong and the China, it means that China can take anyone whom they suspect, whom they think that these people are against our security, these people are against our security policy. So this is the main reason, you know, the peoples are now in the street and they're protesting against this thing. So what is happening, you know, this news, what it already shows, like now the police arrested 12 people and they beat them, and it was really old situation. Even if you see the picture, it shows the everything, the tear gas, even though so many stuff the police security forces are doing with the protesters. So that's the reason the protesters try to say it's against the constitutional law, or it's against the law of the Hong Kong. This is the actual main issue that we have to actually acknowledge, that this is against the constitution and also law of the Hong Kong. And the people say what people did with us, if the law also passed in future, it will be more worsen. Because whatever we do, if it is against the Chinese security, they can send us to the China easily. That's the reason actually there's always and still now they're protesting. Again and again against the Hong Kong's this law.
The law, yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. As we're seeing by this picture, you know that Pakistan, they in their speech they said like we have to take Recep Tayyip Erdogan as a good example for improving our crisis economic and passing them and find some solution about it. So they take the Turkish president Recep Tayyip Erdogan as the example actually. So do you have some details about it?
Thank you, Ms. Aisha. It's a really very interesting news. But to tell about this, I just try to give some scenario of Pakistan and Turkish relations. You know, historically the region, the South Asian region, you know, the India, Pakistan, and the kind of Bangladesh. You know, before the independence, even in the time of Ottoman Empire, the Pakistan, India, and the Bangladeshi Muslims they fought so much on behalf of the Ottoman Empire, or for the Ottoman Khilafah, you know, the Osmani Khilafah. So the relations between the Turkish people or the Ottoman peoples and also the region, South Asian regional people, is very historic and it's very strategic and it's very means long times from long time. So the white Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan tried to say like the current situation. I just even also want to tell you the Pakistan current economic situation is really worse. Even is now I did not follow the rate of their value of their money, but as I saw it's last month it was like 1 rupee is almost $1 it's almost 139 rupee. It means like the situation is going to more worse. Even the Pakistan economy is really now worse than the Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is the one of the country who got independence from Pakistan. So it means that the whole area, the Pakistan situation is going to be decreasing from economic crisis or economic fact. But the Prime Minister of Pakistan, he tried to say like, okay, and our situation is really worse, we understand it, we acknowledge it, but we can learn something from Turkey, because he just said that before 2002 the Turkish situation, before coming the Erdogan as a president or as a prime minister of Turkey, the situation of Turkey was more worse than us, than Pakistan. So how Erdogan changed the Turkey, how the party in current Turkey, how they change their economic situation. We can learn so many things from Turkey. We can learn so many examples, so many strategic area, how Turkey acknowledge or how Turkey increase their economic situation. We can learn from them, and we can, by that means or by that way, we can also develop our country, Pakistan. That's what he actually means, and he just in that way he actually said like praise to
leadership
the Pakistan.
Actually,
exactly.
Yes.
He can
he
say that we
like
can
leadership.
learn leadership, and we can take Turkey as an example to develop our economy in Pakistan.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Islam, as we're seeing by this video in this speech by Recep Tayyip Erdogan, actually he asked the help for destroying and try to avoid this kind of organization when you talk about F2 for one. My second question for you, what's the link between F2 and Turkey, and why? What's the reason that he's scared from this organization actually?
Thank you, Ms. Aisha. I just want to tell you, as we already talked about Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, he went to the Japan for a G20 meeting, and he said these things in one of the Turkish community in one university. He made this speech in a meeting in a university to the Turkish people, and he said like, okay, the Turkish community should to be concerned about the FETÖ and the FETÖ members, because they are really active. They have a very good rule in Japan, and they try to make something against Turkey. I mean, the Turkish president itself, against him, the Recep Tayyip Erdogan. So he just tried to say that, like, you have to be concerned about this, and I want to ask. He just tried to say make clear statement about against these FETÖ members. Even he also again mentioned this, that the FETÖ members, or like the FETÖ terrorist group, they are the same like the other terrorist group in the world, and also who are fighting against Turkey, like PKK, like some leftist terrorist group, or like who are the terrorist group who are active in Syria and Iraq, like Daesh or ISIS, we can say. So he just said that we have, like, to the Turkish people who are living in Japan, he just tried to tell them, like, okay, you have to concern about them, and that there are people working against the security of Turkey. So again, we have to also know that what actually the FETÖ, as I said, like I wrote one article, the academic articles about this issue, that the FETÖ's work and how it's organizing or working towards the world. The FETÖ members, they have so many schools, and they are working with so many networks. They have so many system they maintain to work in abroad, especially. So like this is very important. Why there's the Turkish people, who have a link with the FETÖs living in abroad, and they are very strong and networked people. And as I mentioned, like they have so many charity organizations, schools, college, universities. Even itself in the US, they have more than 80 schools. Even the Turkey now, they are taking those schools through the Marek Foundations as one organ of a government, and they try to take it from the FETÖs and make it organized according to the policy of Turkish government. But the fact is, like, they are still active in abroad, and that's the main way how the Turkish president, he expressed his motion to the Turkish people in abroad, like, okay, you have to be concerned about this terrorist group, because it's really dangerous and terrible for our country's security and for our national security.
Yes, thank you so much. So as we see this meeting by this video, actually, so they proposed the economic problem crisis that suffering now in Gaza, and especially we have recorded a highest statistic when I talk about employment people in Gaza. So for this reason, actually, I'd like to ask you, what are the causes that affects this problem?
Just try to mention you about the situation in Gaza. Gaza is the one of the most inhumanitarian treatment in the world by Israel and the Israeli settlers. How the Israeli current government and the settlers are behaving with the Gaza people is really worst situation in the world. this is the most worst situation in some extent rather than the refugees in some war-torn countries, because they don't have electricity in some extent, they don't have water in some extent, they have a blockade, they cannot use their.
I think they have a shortage of food too.
Yes, that's many areas, like they are living in a prison. It's just in the world, like you're living in you can say it's a name of Gaza, but you can say it's a Gaza prison. And the situation is like this. But now again the UN RWA, this is the UN official, and they make some statement. They say that the economic crisis and the food crisis in Gaza, it's really the most worst situation now rather than the before. And they said even the unemployment situation, 52% now youth are unemployment in there,
especially when we focus about the employment.
Yes, like 52%.
People,
just imagine, like 52%. They don't have any job, they don't have to work, like to find what they can do. So it means like the situation is going to be more worse and worse. There is no even also hope. This we can say the Trump's son-in-law, the Kushner, when he give a Middle East peace plan, if we make some link up with this peace plan and the Gaza's current situation, it shows like actually they try to, especially the Israeli and their supporters in internationally, I mean lobbyist group, they try to make a more worse situation for the people of Palestine and the Gaza people. Then they can leave Gaza and to go to their neighborhood country like Jordan or Lebanon or something. And that's what actually the Kushner said, the Middle East peace plan. And even also we saw this the institution, the organization, they said like the situation is going to be more worse, and this worse situation will be actually helpful for Israel to expand their land, to expand and control the Gaza under their way. And this is actually they demand by this way.
Yeah. Thank you so much. As we know, last week, between the relationship between America and Korea, actually, it's like a war of commercial, actually. But now this visit is based on nuclear program. So how is the relationship between Korea and America, and what do you expect actually?
It's really the world's politics, especially the international relations and international politics, are always unpredictable, from so many perspectives. If we can argue here or there, and we cannot predict something like it will go the way what we can say or what we can predict, because it's always unpredictable. And this one is one of the best example. That we saw like so many years like USA threatening Korea, I mean the North Korea, to stop their nuclear test or to stop something which makes or threatening their neighbor countries like South Korea or other neighbors like Japan or those kind of countries. But what we see, there's totally different things now, that the USA, who itself make a sanction on North Korea, they have really tried to make a good relation. And we have to actually acknowledge in some extent to the American President Trump. He just makes something, whatever he has a current policy system or current policy making in towards the Middle East or other countries. But in that case, he's in some extent we have to acknowledge his successfulness. He was the first president went to the North Korea and touch the soil of North Korean, even make a meeting with the North Korean the president, the Kim Jong-un, and it was the first time that any American president to make a meeting. So it is if we want to see from the idealistic view of international relations or international politics, it's of course it's a very good thing. It's very positive side for making a peace. But we know this that there is something like when it comes to the North Korea and when on the other hand when it comes to the Iran, there is two things we are seeing. From hypocritical way. But that's not my argument. We see this the American president, the current US president went to North Korea, and it shows that there will be some peaceful situation. And also the North Korean side or their media, they say it's the emerging visit and the things they are taking positively. But on the other hand, we saw that the North Korea didn't stop their to open or to make their nuclear missile system. So we cannot expect something like it will be more positive in future. Rather, we can say like the fact is still ongoing process and it can be changing in future. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we have been recording the among of biggest accident when we talk about crash plan, or that it causes by tanker after the aircraft. So actually my first question for you is, when we facing this kind of accident, which sector it will be affect actually?
Yeah, of course, like the aviation sector, and it happened in one of the most secure place. The Texas, the plane crash was happened, and 10 people already died. By this crash. So it is really threat for the safety and security. Even though one of the world's most secured countries, those things should to be avoided. But the last couple of years, it happened so many times. We saw the plane crash happen happened in like in Malaysia. We saw this, it happened in Ethiopia. We saw it happen in so many countries. So those kind of plane crash, and though I'm not expert on that issue, like specific like the aviation engineering or aviation the force or facts, but the fact I can say like the people who are working with this kind of way, the aviation company or the plane, they should to be aware about this issue. They should know this, like they should try to, of course they are trying, but of course we expect like they can do it more concernedly and more specifically to avoid the crash and to avoid to make a safety for the passenger who are traveling by this plane, to avoid the crash.
Thank you so much. Actually, by this title, by this news, you know that, do you think that is it the right time for arrestation now, especially that Algeria was suffering from they are against the government systems. Every day we was hearing about manifestation, arrestation. So do you think this kind of arrestation, is it in the right time now for make Algeria more and more calm?
Yeah, of course not. It's not good for the civilian government.
Especially that the arrestation, it's about someone. He's like a hero in Algeria. When you talk about Lakhdar Bouriga, it's like it's leadership in Algeria. So I think it will make the situation more and more worse.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally agree with you. The fact, what is going on in Algeria, the civilians are protesting against the military and authoritarian government, and in so many area they are successful. The military, they accept the facts and they accept the suggestions and from the protesters, and they also agree. And the brother of the previous president, Abdulaziz Bouteflika, and he also the situation we already know. That's what is going on in Algeria. But now what happened, that the current military chief of staff, and he arrested, because he arrested one of the war hero, you already mentioned, the Lakhdar Bouriga. He was the very much famous person and the war hero in Algerian people, and Algerian civilians in generally love him so much. And from the very first, he was really criticized the previous president of Abdulaziz Bouteflika, and also criticized the military chief of staff, and that's how actually military arrested him. So the situation, as you said, like those kind of stuff, it will actually increase more protestation, and the people will be upset, and they will be, they will not trust their military government, and what we are seeing, the military and civilian entering some government and some system, and it shows like, okay, the military are not believable and are not trustable position by arresting those kind of important and those kind of notable person who are working for the civilian government, who are working for the civilians and people, and it shows like some mistrust between the civilian and the military. And I think this maybe they arrest him, but the military will release him also as early as possible, because like those things will uprise the protest again, and make so much protestation in Algeria, and make so much worse situation for the Algeria as a country.
Yes, especially Islam, like since 2 days, I think, or 3 days ago, he said to his people, they need a conversation, they need a dialogue. It's like a national dialogue. So how can you make a national dialogue
when you are arresting
and you're arresting at the same time? For this reason, it would never become like that.
That's actually happened. If you see that in all over the world, what kind of military government did the same strategy. If you see the Egypt, if you see the current Sudan, if you see the even the Libya, though it's very worse situation now, the Algeria, I mean the whole world wide, when the military try to capture the power, they try to make this kind of situation. They are trying to tell to the people or the media, this okay, we want negotiation, we want dialogue. On the other hand, they are arresting some notable and some important person, like what we are seeing in Algeria. They are arresting one of the most notable person and the important person, their war hero who fought against the French for the Algerian independence. So it shows that the peoples cannot actually depend in and cannot trust to the Algerian military, because the situation what they're seeing, and they cannot and it makes it like fix the so much mistrust between the people and the military. So it will not be successful, like if the military arrested in one hand to the civilians people, or like who are criticized against them, on the other hand they are saying we want dialogue, we want negotiation. It's nothing, it will be just to the basket, and without any results, without any consequences. So if they want actually real they want to give the real power to the civilian government, they have to be respectable to the civilians. Otherwise it will be really impossible. Though we know this, that the situation in especially MENA region, like Middle East and North African region, it's really hard to give to continue what we know about the democracy, because the situation and the sufferings what people experienced from last 10 to 20 or even 30 years more,
Yes.
40 years more, is really very hard. And to take or to give some democratic government,
Yes.
it will not be that much easy. But yeah, we always hope for the best for the civilian government rather than the military authoritarianism, or any kind of authoritarianism that are governing now so many Middle East countries.
Yes, you have right. Actually, freedom for Algerian people.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you to be with us. Thank you for your attention. Our weekly news today was presented by Aisha Sfaxi and Islam. Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
Islam. Like that, our program is finished. Always keep going on Natural TV, Ankara, Turkey.